Hi and welcome back to Ed's Garage. I know it's been a while since I've had a video that I've posted, so I apologize for that. Not that I haven't been working on some projects, but the projects are either I'm working on someone else's car and just trying to make it quick, or I was thinking maybe I should do a video as I winterized my boat this year, but our Wisconsin neighbor was nice enough to let me do it in his driveway since we sold our Wisconsin home. So I didn't feel it was right to drag things out and be shooting a videotape up there. So anyways, got kind of a new project here. Doing a add-on to a new vehicle. I'll give you a little bit of backdrop. Many of you know that our tow vehicle for years has been a 2008 Yukon XL Denali with the 6.2 liter, and I absolutely love that truck. The engine was fantastic, being the L92 and not having any of the AFM, DOD problems installed, so it was just pure power. Well, as we're getting a little bit older in age, my wife and I went out and on a whim this past July. This is, right now I'm shooting this video October of 23. So this past July there was a RV show in the local town Bolingbrook, so we decided, hey, let's go, as we get closer to retirement, since we've got the dog. Hey Jackson, come on out here. He's hiding right now. But since we have the dog, it's hard to go sneak out on vacations and be dealing with him. But if we had a travel trailer, we could go and put him in the travel trailer while we go out and enjoy a nice dinner, where we wouldn't feel comfortable doing that in a hotel. So long story short, we almost bought a travel trailer that day. The two things that stopped us was, one, it was July and I had the gut feeling that in order to get the nice campgrounds, come on out here, buddy, to get the nice campgrounds that we'd like to be in, that you have to make those reservations quite a bit in advance. So the next day I was doing brakes on a Subaru for a family friend. I had my wife look into that, and that turned out to be true. And then the other reason we decided to wait is the trailer we had our eyes on fully tapped out. The GVWR would be 7,900, where that Yukon XL topped out at 7,800, and everybody can make their own decisions, but personally I want about a 20% buffer in my tow capacity versus what I'm towing. So we felt we wanted to go and do the travel trailer, but we could put that off to the spring RV show in Chicago, and we had to go and upgrade our tow vehicle before that happened. So let me show you what we're working on today. So this is our new tow vehicle. Just a little bit more power than the Yukon XL had. So we picked this up just over 4 weeks ago. It is a 24 Sierra 2500 crew cab Denali with, of course, all the power for towing that we could want. So the plan is, we've got this now, so this can do conventional towing of 18,000 or gooseneck towing of 19,000. We'll take a look here at the door. And which sticker is that? I believe that is this sticker right here. So curbway pillow, there you go, the bottom half of it. So gooseneck trailer is 19,100, where your conventional towing is 18,500. So we're certainly all set to tow 7,800 pounds. So today's project, in line with wanting to be towing a travel trailer, one of the very first things that I plan on doing when we get the travel trailer in the spring is to do a power system upgrade where we'll be going with a lithium battery, probably 270 amp hours is what I have my mind on here. With, of course, the inverter charger. It comes with a solar charger. Don't know if I'll have to update that. But I also want to go and put in a high amperage DC charger. So when I went and spec'd out this truck, I actually bought this out of inventory. I did buy the truck out of inventory. I got really lucky. I had gone through and done a order, assuming I was going to order to get the color that I wanted. I wanted to make sure I got the Denali trim. You know, the wheels come with it, a variety of other things, but two things I specifically wanted to make sure that I had for the travel trailer. Well, one for the travel trailer was a 220 amp alternator. And then the second one was to make sure I had skid plates. So the option package that this came with had three features bundled in the option package, and that's the snowplow / camper prep. So with that, I got the 220 amp alternator, the skid plates. The other thing it added that I didn't necessarily want, but it won't be a bad thing to have, is a higher front axle rating with a stiffer torsion bar. So with that, I've got, naturally with the Duramax, there's two batteries, one on each side. But I want to make sure that as we light up the travel trailer and have a 270 amp hour lithium battery on there, if we wind up stopping somewhere traveling, let's say where we're going is far enough away that we're going to stop at a Walmart, a Cracker Barrel, a rest area, whatever, to rest up and make sure I'm fresh to go, and we draw down that lithium battery and get it to say 60 or 50%, I want to make sure that the tow vehicle, I can get the power from the 220 amp alternator through the 250 inches. This is a long son of a bitch. I can't even fit it in my normal bays where this door was pushed out 2 feet. I had to go to the third bay, which had that 2 feet plus 7 more, because I used to store my boat in here. But naturally the 7-way connector has a power feed in it, but that's a little 12 gauge cable. So if you've got a 12 gauge cable, you use the 80% rule, you can get about 16 amps through that. Where what we're going to do is install a new connection right off the driver's side battery. I'll walk you through that. And we're going to run all the way back along the frame rail with an Anderson Quick Connect, so that we'll be using 6 gauge wire, and that's going to get us 6 gauge wire can do 65 amp, I believe is its rated capacity. 80% is 56, so when it's all said and done, I should be able to deliver about 325% more watts to charge to a Victron DC to DC charger by going through this project. So let me grab you off the tripod here and we'll walk through what we're doing. Alright, so as I mentioned, this big guy has 2 batteries in it. It has the one battery and power center over on the passenger side by the firewall, and then on the driver's side it has it right here. Now we're going to focus on the driver's side because naturally the 7-way connector and the rear bumper is on the driver's side and the shortest path. So what we have here is, if you pull up, hopefully I can do this with one hand, pull up on this tab, you will see that on top of the battery off the positive post, there are some fuses already. So we've got a bolt down 175 amp fuse with nothing connected to it. We have a bolt down 400 amp fuse that does have a cable terminating to it. I guess I'll have to learn my truck and see where that goes. And then we have an open terminal here. So that's the one I'm going to focus on. You'll see it's a 5/16 inch stud, and it is set up so that you've got room for a bolt down fuse and then a cable to come in. So let me show you what we get in the kit. Alright, so I'm going to have to put you back in the tripod to do this. So in this, hopefully I'm in the frame here, but you'll see we've got a line that this is the snowplow kit. I believe these two pink bags were in it. This was under the rear passenger seat. It has a auxiliary switch bank set up and connections for that. But all I want out of this, since I don't plan on putting on a plow, at least not in the immediate future, we'll empty out this bag. And we can see that what they give you is a little bus bar if you need to go and connect the positive there and spread it across. What we want is this 60 amp fuse. We want the 5/16 inch stud and a bolt for that. They don't have any lock washers or anything like that, but this is, those two parts are the part of the kit that we're looking to use. So I'll walk you through the other stuff here now. So with that, I'm gonna go and remove the snowplow kit. So as I mentioned before, I'm set to install a 6-gauge cable. So I've gone and bought this battery / welding wire from Amazon. Windy Nation is the brand name of it, and this is, let's see if I can get that to focus. Well, this is pure copper. You want to be careful, from what I was able to read, that some of the cheap stuff from a certain country is aluminum clad or copper clad aluminum. So you don't want that. You want the pure copper to be able to do it. So as a matter of fact, let me pause and give some credit. This is something that I've done a lot of homework on, and the homework is coming from Explorus.life. Nate over there has the most helpful videos, probably the most helpful channel for showing somebody how to do something on their own. So everything here is leveraging what Nate has. You'll see I've already bought a pretty big battery crimper to go do that, and that was based off links on Nate's channel, as well as the big wire cutters. Other stuff here I went and just grabbed. So I went and grabbed 3/4 inch wire loom. This is what I've been waiting for. It finally came in today. So once we get the cables fished up from the bottom of the engine bay or frame rail up, we'll get it into this tubing. We've already got our battery lugs are crimped on with heat shrink to make that a nice good connection. And then we will be tying everything to the frame rail with these 3/4 inch rubber coated grommets that we'll get in there. And then when we come out, we'll be going in an Anderson 50 amp connector. So this is the trailer side of it. And, you know, both sides are exactly identical. I went and picked this up. Website, it's someplace in Australia, Traveling Trailers or something like that. But what this is the black weatherproof case that is going to be under the truck here so that I can have this covered up when it's not in use. That case, unfortunately, they say it's for 50 amp, but that opening only allows one number 6 cable. So I'm going to have to cut that off completely, do some modification, and just seal it with silicone. So I have a flashing battery here, so I'm going to pause for a bit and we'll come right back. Okay, so I just hit my first obstacle. You can see I put in the stud here for the 60 amp fuse that came with the kit. The problem, I thought that this would fit, and the 60 amp is smaller than a mega fuse. The kit also came with a 200 amp mega fuse, but 200 amp is too big. So on the other side, the other power system or distribution bus, let me show you that as we go over to here. Sorry, this is going to get wobbly. I'm tight fit with this big boy in the garage here. So the way that this one is set up, a stud can go in here, and then you can see here is a slot, and a bus bar would go over these 3 slots to bring power to 3 studs, where you would have the wide stud in this slot, the short one in here. But I don't want to pull power from this side when I'm bringing it to the other side. So we're going to have to put that back on. I'll go and do that a little bit later. And for this side, I've got the stud in place, so I can bring the cable up and put it here. It just naturally won't be active, and hey, I don't need to do this until March or April, so I'm 5 or 6 months. I'm just killing some board time here. So I'm going to proceed. Positive will go here. The negative's going to have to come all the way up here. So the negative is obviously going to be a foot longer as I go do that. And then somewhere in this area, I'll pull them into the same wire loom. And I actually want to put some heat shrink on that. So at the top of the wire loom, the heat shrink pulls those two together and stops the wire loom from opening. So that's what I'm going to do. I think tonight I'm just going to make sure that I can bring the cable up from the frame rail, and it's kind of a mess, but I think I'm going to go right for that opening there, which will lead to, I believe, the main harness heading towards the back, and that's where I'll go and pick that stuff up. So that's it for now. Okay, so I wanted to show you what I'm going to do here. As I mentioned, I want to make sure that these 2 cables here are in a wire loom. I've got a fiberglass stick here that's going down, and this will come just between the fender well, the carpeted fender well on the left front side, and the frame rail. So get it all the way down, and then I'll tuck it and follow the main harness all the way back. But what I want to do here is figure out what the length difference is on these 2 cables. So I've got them tucked from the passenger side over here. I was on the, just loosely on the negative post here. I'm on this positive, but there's no fuse, so I'm not energizing the cable. And basically what I'm looking at right here, hopefully you can see my hand, I'm pulling the two wires together, and that's where I want this to start. So what I'm going to do now is pull them off. I'm going to bring that up, and that's where I want to go, and I'm going to get that at least the first 5-6 feet of wire loom. And like I said, I'm going to heat shrink that up front so that it stays closed in there, and I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay, Jackson, should we show them a quick update? Huh? Show them all the work you've done? Yeah, gotta teach you how to go to the fridge and open it up and get me a beverage. Okay, so what I've done is, as I mentioned, I've got the first, about 8 feet of the cable tucked into the wire loom. What I went and did is about every 16 inches I taped the two 6 gauge wires together to get that going. And then as the wire loom starts here, I went and put a 1-inch piece of heat shrink on it to make sure that those stay in there and the wire loom doesn't open up at the top. To give you a feeling on how I figured out how much cable to use, what I did about a week, 10 days ago, is I grabbed this clothesline here and went and ran it from, I tied it around this spot to be far from the negative battery post, being the furthest, took it down this route, went to the end, and that rope turned out to be just perfect. And then I had to measure the rope, and it was 21 feet. So what I did was I ordered 25 feet of the 6 gauge copper cable. And then to show you where the stick, whoop, not that graceful, where the stick is coming down here, it is right between the carpeted fender liner and the frame, and you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but right there is the bottom of the main harness. So once it's down in this area, it will tuck up behind this and follow the main harness. I'll use separate clips so I'm not putting more weight on the Christmas trees holding up the main harness, but that's kind of where we are now. So I'm about to pull that up and get it into the battery compartment. Okay, so I'm about 75–80% done. Gonna stop for the night just so I'd show you where things are at thus far. So the connections are made up top, as wide out as I can go. Move this cover. So we've got the negative over here, positive is there, the fuse is not there, so I'm not active yet. That fuse should show up tomorrow. So at that point in time I'll put the fuse on, but I'll take the wire off the stud and just tape it up and tuck it until 5–6 months go by and I'm ready to use it. So we've got that. We wound up getting tucked in behind the carpeted fender liner there, and then along the main harness on the frame rail, came over the various body supports, and right now I am back to the fuel filler. That's where I'll stop. I need to make sure that pretty much the main harness stops here, so I've got to go find and make sure that I follow a route that if the bed ever needs to be removed, that I'm not messing up the lifting of that, and have this cable where it can stay in place along the frame. So that's it. We'll pick up from here tomorrow. Bye. Okay, it's the next morning, and I've gone and run the cable from basically the fuel doors where I left off last night. Got it up along the fuel fill hoses, carried it all the way to the back, and I just have basically the last 12–16 inches to go. and to put the terminator on. So before I go under there, I wanted to show you up close on this terminator here. So this rubber case that I have, as I said, I'm going to have to completely cut off this back. I'll put the loop for the cover around the negative cable. As you can see, let's see if I can get that level of detail. Yep, it's there. So that would be the negative cable on the side that it's on. But you'll see that this has a little tab of protrusion. Not sure exactly what that's for, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to use that as a locator to keep it put. So hang on a second, let me crawl under. Okay, hopefully there's enough lighting here that you can see the orientation of what I'm going to do. I did not want to have this Anderson connector sticking out and looking like an obvious add-on after the fact, so what I plan to do is attach it inside the bumper, and I'm going to go, you'll see that there is a little opening here. I am going to use that as a locator. I'll zoom back out so that this is going to stick right in there, and then I will drill a hole up above or two for a zip tie, and you can see the cable's going to come that route and connect, so that I'll probably have to have it at a little bit of an angle there, and then when I want to connect, I'll just have to go and crawl underneath, and I'll have my connector right there. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me show you something on the actual Anderson. So the Anderson pins have a steel retainer in there. Hopefully you can see that. And the pin has a curved side to it. So that curved side goes over and it catches that steel retainer, and then it won't come out. So this top side here is your electrical contact surface. So what my plan is I put this together. I'm going to put some dielectric grease on the retaining clip within the block, dielectric grease on the underside here, but obviously making sure I do not get it on the top electrical contact surface. I just don't want to have green crusties form in non-contact areas and spread over and get in there. So dielectric grease is a insulator but not a conductor, so we got to keep it off the contact surfaces. That's my plan. I'll show you once I've got some pins done. Okay, so at this point I have the two connectors crimped on. Made sure that I went and they were facing basically the same way there. We've got some nice good crimps. They're nice and solid. So now I'm going to put on the heat shrink, and then I'll start tearing apart that connector. Okay, so at this point the Anderson connector is on, fully pinned. You'll see that there are markings on it to make sure it's a, I'll call it a hermaphrodite connector. There's no male, there's no female, so you have two ends, and positive is marked there along with negative. So all that I have left now is to go and cut this up so a couple of 6-gauge wires fit. Put this on, little silicone caulk around that opening, and then I mount it and tie it up. Alright, Jackson says we're done, so it's time to give him something for his midday meal. I don't want to say the word or I'll be in trouble. So I'll just show you how things wrapped up here. So as I said, I've got the cable zip tied in. I had to go and open the back of the weather tight connector, so you can see I just packed that full of clear silicone, And now I can go and put the rubber connector back on it that I don't need the excess. And then all I have left to do is put in the 60 amp mega fuse. So that's okay. So picking up where I left off, it is November 29th now. So it's been a good 5, maybe 6 weeks since I started on this project. The truck, I've had it now a little over 2.5 months. So I am ready to make a quick modification to add this 60 amp mega fuse to, oh, don't want that, to that connection right there. So as you can see, as I lift this up, of course I jammed it in there somehow. Okay, as I lift this up, I'll zoom in a little bit. This portion of the tab is interfering with the body of the mega fuse. So I have to go in, I'm going to take off this entire bus bar box. I'll use a cutting wheel on my Dremel, cut that off, and then we should be good and wrap this project up. Okay, so not knowing this platform, this bus adapter took me a good 25-30 minutes to gently wiggle and figure it out. You can see I've got my finger underneath here and I'm wiggling back and forth the battery stud. Let me flip this over. So that, you can see there's a little bit of an indent there that slips into, and that is underneath this bus bar here. So once you get the 2 clips released, one here and one on this side, it still doesn't want to release, and what I had to do was come and get a screwdriver underneath the battery post clamp and get that, and then it would wiggle it up. So right now you can see my marks. I'm going to go and use a small Dremel wheel and cut that off, being cautious not to go through and get to the part that is the battery hold down clamp. I'll be back shortly. Okay, so using that little cutting wheel on my Dremel, I was able to go ahead and score up. I had to come from this side with the handle of the Dremel closest to my big old beer belly, and was able to get where that was weakened enough that then with some angled pliers I was able to snap it off. So now when we go and put that mega fuse in, okay, so now the 60 watt or amp mega fuse is installed there. That screw will be for the DC to DC charge controller going to the back bumper, and we are just going to reassemble. I'm going to leave that cable off since it's the end of November, and I don't expect to be using this feature until mid-March at the soonest. So at that point in time we'll connect the cable. Hang on. Okay, and this is the project all complete. Positive charge wires disconnected, wrapped in some shrink wrap, and we're just gonna tuck that down in that opening until we're ready to use it in the spring. Alright, so if you made it this far, I want to thank you for hanging with me to the end here. It was interesting, a little bit scary. It's not a cheap toy that's out there, and it's the first time I've done anything on the truck other than changing the brake-in oil. So if you've made it this far, you obviously have an interest. Do me a favor. Comment down below and let me know what you're thinking of doing that had you find this video and watch it. Are you looking to do similar? Were you looking for a high amperage connection for a DC-DC charger for travel trailer, fifth wheel, or could be a cargo trailer and you have something in it? or maybe you've got something else in the bed. I don't know, maybe a salt spreader, or not sure if any tailgate lifts operate off of a high amperage connection. Naturally, if you used a bigger wire, you could do a receiver mounted winch to go do some recoveries, but I'm interested. Let me know what applications you may have. Hopefully this will be good. Do me a favor and, please like it if you thought it was good content. Absolutely would appreciate if you would subscribe. So that's it for now. The next thing you're going to see from me is did go out this past weekend and bought a new cargo trailer, not the travel trailer yet. So the truck did get the brand new receiver broken in with the new drawbar and all that fun stuff. So I think I'm going to go through and run a quick video as I add all the cargo management and some of the stuff I'm going to do to customize that. Because in 3 weeks, that's got to run Chicago to Denver and lighten up our household and drop some stuff off for baby girl that just bought her first house. So thanks for hanging in there. Signing off from Ed's Garage.